please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Before that, we were just discussing InterGlobe or Indigo, where there is low management disclosure concerns as well, which has really spooked the stock besides the numbers. Sonia joins in to tell us more about the conference call takeaways, which she was listening to, as well as the overall synopsis.
Well, thanks a lot for that. You know, the one thing investor community has a very low tolerance for is low disclosures from the management and lack of clarity or lack of transparency. And that's pretty much what happened with the InterGlobe conference call yesterday. Now, as we saw, the stock fell about 15% in one fell swoop because the investor community just did not get any reasons for a whole host of issues that are plaguing the company. So it started off with questions on why the yields have fallen. Remember, the yields for InterGlobe have fallen almost 5.5% on a year-on-year basis. This is the highest fall we've seen in a very long time. This despite InterGlobe being a market leader in various metro routes. Now, the management just purely said that, you know, yields are on a downtrend for the industry as a whole. Repeated questions were asked on that, but they paid no heed to that. Apart from that, you know, the Pratt and Whitney engine issue. Remember, there was that grounding of planes issue for which Pratt and Whitney, the engine maker, was supposed to make good some of the losses and compensate to Indigo. Till now, we don't know what the compensation amount is, and even after repeatedly asking at the conference call, the management said that they can't give us any clarity on that. Apart from that, you know, there was no explanation on what the future leadership would be, who the new CEO would be, no talk of Gregory at all, whether he would be taking over as CEO, etc. Also, you know, no talk on what the future strategy would be. There were just broad statements on how the growth for the company would continue, etc. No clarity on the SEBI probe, no other details on why the profits of 100 crores included a financial income of about 248 crores. So actually stripped of that, it's an operational loss. Quickly, I want to tell you what brokerages are doing. Most brokerages have cut their target prices on InterGlobe Aviation. Credit Suisse has cut it from 1650 to 1575. IDFC has cut it from by 12% to 1293. Motilal Oswal says there's very little room for upside, and Citi has cut it from 1600 all the way to 1240. Back to you.
Sonia, you know, is it, I mean, to you, and you follow the sector for a long time, to you, does it look like it's a bunch of issues coming together? You know, it happens routinely in various stocks. I mean, the stock sees a big run-up, a couple of headwinds all come together at the same time, the stock takes a beating, and then suddenly people start looking over their own shoulders and say, well, this is wrong, that is wrong. Because, I mean, the biggest question is the question of yields. Yes. And to that question, the management clearly said that, well, you know, we want to defend market share, we want to expand share, so we're willing to sacrifice yields. I mean, that's, to me, that's as clear as it gets. So what's really the big worry in terms of disclosures?
Well, you know, Prashant, I take your point entirely. It's also a matter of high expectations that the street has had. We all know that Indigo has gone through a whole host of issues in the recent past, whether it was, you know, safety concerns, legal battles, Aditya Ghosh's resignation. So what we expected from the conference call perhaps is the management sort of alleviating some of those concerns. I take your point on yields as well. They did mention that they want to defend market share, but there was no real, you know, quantification of which way yields would head, whether they would fall further. There were just broad-based statements that the management gave out. And, you know, there are a whole host of other issues, right, to what the strategy would be. There is a lot of talk that Indigo is also going to move from a lease-back model to sort of owning their planes. There was no great clarity on that. But I also take your point about how the expectations have been very high for InterGlobe. And in general, for the industry, crude prices have gone up, ATF prices have gone up. So in any case, the earnings were expected to be under pressure. But, you know, there were a lot of questions that went unanswered. I think that's the grievance that the industry has.
Okay.